Okay, so what we want to do right here is they're asking us to complete the square to solve this quadratic equation right here. Okay, the first step in completing the square is getting this value, negative 48, on the right side of the equal sign. So what do I need to do to move negative 48 to the right side of the equal sign? Well, I'll add 48 to both sides, like this. And so I've got x squared plus 2x. I'm going to leave a space where the negative 48 was, and that equals 48. Okay? And now we need to do what we call completing the square. Okay? Now to complete the square, you got to fill this box right here in with something, that space. Okay? So what I'm going to do to fill it in is what we always put in there is b over 2 squared. So we're going to put in b over 2 all squared. Okay, in this case, b is 2. So I've got 2 over 2 all squared, which is 1 squared, which equals 1. So I'm going to add 1 to this left side. But since I added 1 to the left, I also have to add 1 to the right side. So now let's rewrite what we've got. X squared plus 2x plus 1 all equals 49. So you completed the square. And what that means is this left side right here is a perfect square. So if we were to factor it, what are my factors of 1? They're 1 times 1. And does 1 plus 1 add up to equal 2? It does. And so what this will factor out to be is it'll factor to be x plus 1 times x plus 1, and that equals 49. Okay, now let's make sure this is right. X times x equals x squared, right here. And x times 1 is x, and 1 times x is x. 1 plus 1 is 2x. And then what is 1 times 1? It is 1. So we factored this correct. Now, just like 3 times 3 is the same thing as 3 squared, x plus 1 times x plus 1 is the same thing as x plus 1 squared, and that equals 49. So we have completed this step right here. We have completed the square. So what number would go in this blank? It would be a 1, right? From right there. And then what number would go in this blank? It's 49, isn't it? Right there. So we completed the square. Now we need to calculate the two solutions. And to do that, all we have to do is solve this equation right here. Well, this is just like what we did in the video, taking the square root to solve quadratic equations. All we have to do is get rid of this squared. Well, what is the opposite of squared? The opposite is square root. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides. Say it. Take the square root of both sides. And so I have x plus 1 equals, the square root of 49 is 7, but the square root of 49 is also negative 7, so I need to write two equations. X plus 1 equals negative 7, because the square root of 49 is 7 and negative 7. And now all I have to do is I have to solve this equation, and that'll be one of my solutions. And I solve this equation, and that'll be the other solution. And so I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides, and so you can see that x equals 6. And here I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides, and you can see x equals negative 8. And so my two solutions are 6 and negative 8. And so you're done. You completed the square in this step. and it gave you the two solutions right here.